People have only as much liberty as they have the intelligence to want and the courage to take. I want freedom, the right to self-expression, everybody's right to beautiful, radiant things. A revolution without dancing is not a revolution worth having. I'd rather have roses on my table than diamonds on my neck. Ask for work. If they don't give you work, ask for bread. If they do not give you work or bread, then take bread. If love does not know how to give and take without restrictions, it is not love, but a transaction that never fails to lay stress on a plus and a minus. I demand the independence of woman, her right to support herself, to live for herself, to love whomever she pleases, or as many as she pleases. I demand freedom for both sexes, freedom of action, freedom in love, and freedom in motherhood. What a strange development of patriotism that turns a thinking being into a loyal machine. Direct action is the logical, consistent method of anarchism. Real wealth consists in things of utility and beauty, in things that help to create strong, beautiful bodies and surroundings inspiring to live in. No one has yet realized the wealth of sympathy, the kindness and generosity hidden in the soul of a child. The effort of every true education should be to unlock that treasure. The strongest bulwark of authority is uniformity. The least divergence from it is the greatest crime. I don't care if a man's theory for tomorrow is correct. I care if his spirit of today is correct. Those who sit in a glass house do wrong to throw stones about them. Besides, the American glass house is rather thin, it will break easily, and the interior is anything but a gainly sight. Women need not always keep their mouths shut and their wombs open. We say that if America has entered the war to make the world safe for democracy, she must first make democracy safe in America. When, in the course of human development, existing institutions prove inadequate to the needs of man, when they serve merely to enslave, rob, and oppress mankind, the people have the eternal right to rebel against and overthrow these institutions. Conceit, arrogance, and egotism are the essentials of patriotism. The majority cares little for ideals and integrity. What it craves is display. I believe, indeed I know, that whatever is fine and beautiful in the human expresses and asserts itself in spite of government and not because of it. Marriage is primarily an economic arrangement, an insurance pact. It differs from the ordinary life insurance agreement only in that it is more binding, more exacting. In modern capitalism, economic exploitation rather than political oppression is the real enemy of the people. Love needs no protection. It is its own protection. Art is a part of the rebellion against the realities of its unfulfilled desire. Modern woman is no longer satisfied to be the beloved of a man. She looks for understanding, comradeship. She wants to be treated as a human being and not simply as an object for sexual gratification. Religion, the dominion of the human mind. Property, the dominion of human needs. And government, the dominion of human conduct, represent the stronghold of man's enslavement and all the horrors it entails. The most vital right is the right to love and be loved. Revolution is indeed a violent process, but if it is to result only in a change of dictatorship, in a shifting of names and political personalities, then it is hardly worthwhile. All claims of education notwithstanding, the pupil will accept only that which his mind craves. You cannot build up a standing army and then throw it back into a box like tin soldiers. Armies equipped to the teeth with weapons, with highly developed instruments of murder and backed by their military interests, have their own dynamic functions. The individual is the true reality of life, a cosmos in himself. He does not exist for the state, nor for that abstraction called society or the nation, which is only a collection of individuals. Woman, essentially a purist, is naturally bigoted and relentless in her effort to make others as good as she thinks they ought to be. Pettiness separates, breadth unites. Let us be broad and big. The ultimate end of all revolutionary social change is to establish the sanctity of human life, the dignity of man, the right of every human being to liberty and well-being. The most disheartening tendency common among readers is to tear out one sentence from a work as a criterion of the writer's ideas or personality. Free love, as if love is anything but free. Man has bought brains, but all the millions in the world have failed to buy love. Poor human nature, what horrible crimes have been committed in thy name. All wars are wars among thieves who are too cowardly to fight and who therefore induce the young manhood of the whole world to do the fighting for them. Since every effort in our educational life seems to be directed toward making of the child a being foreign to itself, it must of necessity produce individuals foreign to one another and in everlasting antagonism with each other. Puritanism, in whatever expression, is a poisonous germ. On the surface, everything may look strong and vigorous, yet the poison works its way persistently until the entire fabric is doomed. The contention that a standing army and navy is the best security of peace is about as logical as the claim that the most peaceful citizen is he who goes about heavily armed. Anarchism is the great liberator of man from the phantoms that have held him captive. It is the arbiter and pacifier of the two forces for individual and social harmony. The whole history of man is continuous proof of the maxim that to divest one's methods of ethical concepts means to sink into the depths of utter demoralization. Militarism consumes the strongest and most productive elements of each nation. Militarism swallows the largest part of the national revenue. It is organized violence on top, which creates individual violence. At the bottom, it is the accumulated indignation against organized wrong, organized crime, organized injustice, which drives the political offender to act. From infancy almost, the average girl is told that marriage is her ultimate goal. Therefore, her training and education must be directed toward that end. Like the mute beast fattened for slaughter, she is prepared for that public school where the human mind is drilled and manipulated into submission to various social and moral spooks, and thus fitted to continue our system of exploitation and oppression. To the moralist, prostitution does not consist so much in the fact that the woman sells her body, but rather that she sells it out of wedlock. You have opened up the prison gates of my womanhood, and all the passion that was unsatisfied and for me so many years leaped into a wild, reckless storm, boundless as the sea. It is characteristic of theistic tolerance that no one really cares what the people believe in, just so they believe or pretend to believe. In the face of this approaching disaster, it behooves men and women not yet overcome by war madness to raise their voice of protest, to call the attention of the people to the crime and outrage which are about to be perpetrated on them. Why waste your life working for a few shillings a week in a scullery, 18 hours a day, when a woman could earn a decent wage by selling her body instead? The individual whose vision encompasses the whole world often feels nowhere so hedged in and out of touch with his surroundings as in his native land, perhaps even more than constituted authority. It is social uniformity and sameness that harass the individual most. Give us what belongs to us in peace, and if you don't give it to us in peace, we will take it by force. Jealousy is the very reverse of understanding, of sympathy, and of generous feeling. Never has jealousy added to character, never does it make the individual big and fine. Emma Goldman, June 27, 1869 May 14, 1940, was born in Kaunas, Lithuania, then within the Russian Empire, into an Orthodox Jewish family in Kovno in Lithuania, then within the Russian Empire. Goldman's mother, Taub Binowich, had been married before to a man with whom she had two daughters, Helena in 1860 and Lena in 1862. Goldman pursued an independent education on her own. She studied the political turmoil around her, particularly the nihilists responsible for assassinating Alexander II of Russia. Emma Goldman was a Lithuanian-born anarchist revolutionary, political activist. and writer. She played a pivotal role in the development of anarchist political philosophy in North America and Europe in the first half of the 20th century. Goldman emigrated to the United States in 1885, attracted to anarchism after the Chicago Haymarket Affair. Goldman became a writer and a renowned lecturer on anarchist philosophy, women's rights, and social issues, attracting crowds of thousands. In 1906, Goldman founded the anarchist journal Mother Earth. She left the Soviet Union and in 1923 published a book about her experiences, My Disillusionment in Russia, while living in England, Canada, and France. She wrote an autobiography called Living My Life. It was published in 2 volumes in 1931 and 1935. She died in Toronto, Canada, in 1940, age 70. During her life, Goldman was lionized as a free-thinking, rebel woman by admirers and denounced by detractors as an advocate of politically motivated murder and violent revolution. Her writing and lectures spanned a wide variety of issues, including prisons, atheism, freedom of speech, militarism, capitalism, marriage, free love, and homosexuality. Although she distanced herself from first-wave feminism and its efforts toward women's suffrage, she developed new ways of incorporating gender politics into anarchism. After decades of obscurity, Goldman gained iconic status in the 1970s by a revival of interest in her life when feminist and anarchist scholars rekindled popular interest